Well, hello, my salty dogs and dog kittens. Hope you're all well. You had a lovely weekend. Hope your weekend was a little bit warmer and a lot less windy than what our weekend was. It was really not a pleasant weekend. The southwesterly was blowing. It was freezing cold. Woke up this morning to a lovely 3 degrees Celsius at 6 a.m. this morning. So yes, but as you can see, today is a beautiful day. Today, I've got something very exciting for you. We are going to make a bread, but not in the oven. We are going to be making a bread that is entirely made in a pot on the stove. Yes, bread on a pot on the stove. It is going to be a savory paprika and herb bread. I made a small one that will do about 2 people or 3 people, but you are more than welcome to increase the ingredients, double it up if you want to make a bigger bread. But this one is going to be so you can feed about 2 to 4 people depending on how hungry you are and how much you enjoy it. But ingredients will basically be plain flour, yeast, paprika, mixed herbs, table salt, and water, and a teaspoon of sugar. The sugar that we use in the bread is very important because the yeast actually feeds off the sugar. It is basically fuel for the bread and the yeast so that it will rise. And then one other important thing that we need to do is make sure that the area that we put the bread so that it can actually rise needs to be warm and not too cold. If it's cold, your bread will not rise no matter what you do. So make sure that it's in a warm area. I'm actually filming this little bit before I started making the bread, and I actually made the error of leaving it being away too long, and I didn't monitor the heat of the boat. So my bread didn't rise as much as I liked it would have, but this can be done anytime, anywhere. You can mix it the night before, let it sit overnight, pop it on the stove. 30 minutes later, you've got a beautiful little bread. Or you can do it in the morning, make your mixture, and then once your mixture is made, just let it sit in a warm area, preferably a window that gets all day sun, if that's possible, because that actually does help quite a bit. And then you just get home, pop it in the pot like I will show you in the video, and you have got within 25-30 minutes a beautiful little loaf of bread that you can serve with beautiful hot butter or margarine depending on how you want it, and it makes a beautiful little savory snack for the next day as well. So my salty dogs and dogettes, let's get going with this beautiful savory paprika and herb bread. See you on the other side of this, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Also, give us an indication if you enjoyed the wonton recipe that we did. And then yesterday, when it was so miserable and cold, we did a quick 5-minute brekkie, and we saved $40 by not going out and having a brekkie somewhere else. So you can see we can actually save money if we are going ahead and we are making use of what we've got. So have a look at that. It's about a 2-minute video of how to make a 5-minute brekkie. And the 5-minute brekkie is really quick and easy to make. So there we go. Okay, my friends, see you soon on this beautiful, glorious day. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a scan around so we can see how beautiful the day is. Excuse me for squinting, but I'm looking due west and the sun is actually blinding me. But I'll just give you a little bit of a look, see, and see. What a beautiful day it is. See you soon on the other side of this, and do like, share, and subscribe so we can grow this channel and we can actually make it more available to more people, and I can actually do more meals and more recipes for you. Thank you. It's me again, you salty dogs and doggettes. We are going to do a very quick stovetop bread. It is made with yeast. So let me just quickly run through it. This is actually so simple, so easy, that anybody can actually do this. The only thing is, it does take time for your dough to rise and then knead down again. So I would suggest you can either do it the night before if you want fresh bread in the morning, or you can do it in the morning very quickly when you get up, leave it for the day, you come home, knead down, let it sit for half an hour, and then you are ready to go. So what we got here, I've already put 1 cup of plain flour in my bowl. So it's going to be 2 cups of flour, so I'm adding another cup of flour to it. Then we are adding a tablespoon of dry yeast. And the best thing for the dry yeast, if you've got dry yeast, keep it either in the fridge or the freezer, because then it's lost and it does not go off. Then we are adding in a teaspoon of sugar, white sugar. That helps to activate the yeast. Half a teaspoon of salt. Then I'm adding a quarter teaspoon of paprika. If you want a little bit more herby, you can add more herbs, but I've just done a tablespoon of mixed herbs that I've just sprinkled through. And then we are just going to take it, just a spoon, just do a quick little stir through, just to mix all the dry ingredients. There we go. And then I am adding 1 tablespoon of oil, normal canola oil. I just find it just gives the bread a little bit of a better texture, and it also prevents it from sticking a little bit too much. So there we go. And then we are adding our water. It is not boiling hot water. It is just so that it is nice and warm, because the warm water will activate. So I'm just pouring my warm water in there. I'm going to start with about 200 milliliters, as you can see there. I don't know if you can see, but 200 milliliters. And I'm just going to make a little well in the middle. And then we are just adding it little bit by little bit together. For every 2 cups, it's about a cup of water, but it all just depends on humidity and everything. I'm just going to stop there at 100 mils for the moment. Take my spoon, just do a little bit of a stir through, so it just starts binding a little bit. You can see it's still a little bit dry. You can see you can just use a spoon just to get the initial going. And then I'm just going to go over with my hands and just give it a little bit of a feel. Adding a little bit, about another 50 mils of water. And then just work it through with your hands. I'll just get all of the dry bits nice in there. You can use a smaller bowl, but I'm sometimes not the tidiest in the kitchen, and I've got the propensity to actually spill. There we go. The consistency is right. So if you can have a look, it's just got a little bit of elasticity to it. Doesn't stick too much to your hands. And then we are just going to roll it in a ball. And that is basically that. So I just need to wipe my hands. and it's just sitting in the bowl. You can see the paprika has given a little bit of a reddy tinge. You've got the herbs inside it, and now what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to grab a little bit of flour. I actually forgot to keep a little bit of flour aside just to sprinkle my bowl, so I'm just going to get a quick little bit of flour. Okay, so I've just got a little bit of flour, then I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to sprinkle it sort of around the bowl, base of the bowl, and just wipe it around. This just helps, just roll the little ball around. It just helps preventing it from sticking to the side once it starts rising. It's just nicely covered, and we'll just keep a little bit of that aside for later on, and I always sprinkle a little bit on top, and I just let it sit, I just let it rest. Now all you just do is just take some cling film and just put some cling film over this, and I normally just put a nice cloth or a towel over it so that it can just stay nice and warm. But if you don't want to waste cling film, I actually just pop a lid on top of it. So let's quickly get the lid and pop it on top. So what I do is I just get a lid that will basically, you can see, just fit into that. Excuse the toolbox on the side, as you know we're renovating. So I just pop the lid on, so just press on top of that. That keeps the moisture in, and it actually helps to build up the heat. And then you can just take a cloth or a little blanket and cover it. So I've got my little blanket here, and let's just get rid of all that stuff. And I just use the normal Edmonds. They're not a sponsor of the show, but I'm just using the Edmund Active Yeast, and I always keep mine in the freezer, and it just lasts a very long time if you don't bake profusely. But even if you bake profusely, just keep it in there. So let's just do this, and then I just take this little blanket, wrap it up nicely, and then we're just going to leave it in a spot where it is nice and warm, but there's no draft on it, or it can cool down, because that will prevent your yeast from going. So we are now going to leave this baby here for, I would say, about an hour or 2 hours, or you can just leave it and let it just do its thing. So I'm just going to go and just show you what happens when we just leave it, because I just want to make things easy. So we are literally just going to leave it covered like this for the rest of the day, and then this afternoon we will, when I get home from my shopping run, then we will actually show you how to proceed and do it on the stovetop, in this case a gas stove. My friends, we'll see you at around about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Okay, and now here we go with our lovely bread that we are making. It rose, but it's been a little bit cold today, so it didn't rise too much. So don't bring it down too much. A little bit like that. Little balls. Then I've got this lovely little stand. See there? A little stand. I think I got it either Amazon or Temu or something in those lines, and it fits beautifully inside the pot, and that will just raise up the bread from the base so it doesn't burn. Because I'm lazy, I just put it with a sprinkle over it as well. You can see there. Sprinkle over it. And then I'm just going to plug a couple of holes in it so that the air can escape. There we go. Get a couple in the middle. There we go. Okay, now that I've got a couple of holes in here, I am just going to take a little bit of oil, and I'm just going to pour a little bit of oil over the top here, just so it doesn't stick. Just give it a bit of a rub, a little bit on the sides here as well. And do make sure that when you use your lid, that it's a lid that has actually got a hole in it so the steam can actually escape. I've got my stove on there. There. And I'll just pop a little bread on top there. And I will just grab my scissors and just do a little cut in it. Normally this rises a lot more, but unfortunately I was out a little bit too long and I didn't make sure that it actually stays warm, so then we can actually see what happens if it doesn't stay warm. So there we go. Now I'm just going to pop the lid on, and this, my friends, is going to go onto my lovely round little heat disperser that I got on Amazon. It just disperses the heat quite evenly so that it doesn't burn. You don't need one of those. If you don't use one of those, just make sure that you move your pot every now and then on the stove top in order for it to not burn. So now we are going to leave this just inside there on a high heat for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come and check on it and we'll see what happens. See you soon. Okay, just an update. This is what the bread is starting to look like after about 10 minutes. You can see it's starting to rise. We're not going to open the lid, we just need the heat to build up some more inside so it can rise. And now I am going to set the timer for another 10 minutes. Alexa, timer 10 minutes. Alexa, timer 10 minutes. She can be very deaf sometimes.
Starting now.
Okay, the bread has been in for another 10 minutes. I'm just popping it off. See, just taking the lid off. Lovely and steamy. I'm just going to use a little wire rack. Put it on, and then I'm just going to flip it over. Go. Beautiful little bread. Let's just taste it to see that it is cooked through. Yes, beautifully cooked through. Knife comes out nice and clean. And I'll just do one little prick. Beautifully and clean. Now we just let it sit for a few minutes just to cool down so it can just settle, and then we can slice it. Oh, yummy. The smell is delicious. Okay, our little bread is now just rested for about 5 to 10 minutes so it could just settle. And now let's just go and Look how beautifully it slices. Beautiful. Just look at this. Nice and soft on the inside. And let's just put a little bit of butter. Nice dollop butter. That can just soak in. A nice dollop of butter. Beautiful. Melting into the bread. A nice, little bit of a savory herb and paprika bread. Ready to please anybody, no matter young or old. If you want the bread bigger, you can just double the ingredients. But this is a lovely little size. It's for a snack. And no funny preservatives. All healthy, all wholesome, all good. Yummy, yummy food. So I'm not going to taste it on camera, but I'm going to take a bite and see what it's like. It is absolutely delicious. And that is your paprika and herb bread. Absolutely mouth-watering. Nice and spongy, not dried out, but perfectly cooked through, as you can see there. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this as much as I'm going to enjoy this now.